My name is Monica. This is Unity Yoga and Pilates, and I'm going to do another short tutorial today to talk about knees. So last time we talked about shoulders and elbows in certain postures, and today I want to talk about our knees, which are so important. So many people have knee problems from previous injuries, from too many years running, or just different activities, and as we get older, a lot of us end up having trouble with our knees, which means we have trouble standing up and sitting down, trouble climbing stairs, sometimes just trouble walking. So yoga is an excellent way to build strength in the muscles surrounding your knees and to keep your joints healthy, but only if you're practicing the postures safely. As with anything, you can actually do more harm than good if you're doing postures incorrectly. And I say incorrectly because I just mean with incorrect alignment. There's many variations of every single posture. It has nothing to do with how good you look in the posture, how deep you go into the posture. It is always just about, for me, being properly aligned so that your body is healthy and working at its best. So with all of the joints, my strategy is that I want you to build the muscles that surround the joints. By strengthening those muscles, those help protect the joints. So the muscles are doing the work, not the joints. And at the same time, I want to make sure that you're not overstressing your joints and putting them in a position that's going to put undue pressure on them. So today we're going to talk about a couple of postures that really impact the knees when your knees are in a bent position. So basically, when our knees are bent, we never want our knees to go out over our toes. So you often will hear knees over ankles. Yoga instructors say that all the time. And that's really, really important. So the first thing I want to look at is just your high lunge position. So when you're in a high lunge, your back foot is parallel to your front foot. The heel is lifted. And this front knee can go as deep as a 90-degree bend. So notice I have a 90-degree angle here. My knee is over my ankle. That's a good position. What I don't want to be is here. Now my knee is tracking out over my toes. I'm putting a lot of pressure on my knee. My knee is now doing the work. Here, the muscles start to get fatigued. My quadriceps are working, my gluteals are working, all the muscles are working as opposed to the joint working. I will often take this posture and put movement to it. So I will bend the back knee down and then press back up. What this is doing is putting additional weight on these gluteal muscles, also on my hamstring here. And I'm building strength in the muscles surrounding my knees. What I see, however, is a lot of times people lunging forward. Forward. This is a lot easier. It's not nearly as much work on your glutes and on your muscles. But notice the knee is doing all the work. And at this furthest out position, that's really not a great place for you to be. You want to be here. Similarly, our warrior one. So in warrior one, the back foot is going to be at an angle. The front foot's going to be straight ahead. We want to work to bring our hips forward. That means for a lot of us, when I go to warrior one, I actually don't go to a full 90-degree bend. As soon as I get to 90 degrees, my hips start to open up. So for me, I personally need to be at less than 90. Either way, you don't want the foot here. I see this a lot in a warrior one. That's going to put a lot of pressure on that knee. It's easy to adjust. Just step the foot out. Now I'm adjusted. Warrior two, the hips open up. That back foot may pivot out perpendicular. It can also stay exactly where it was. Front foot pointing towards the front. Again, we can go as deep as a 90-degree bend here, but we don't want to go to here. You see the difference? And if I look down right now, I can't see my toes. So the way to check it is when your knee is over your ankle, you can see your big toe peeking out. So I often tell my students, when you're in warrior two, your gaze is in front of you, your drishti point, but just look down. Can I see my toes? Okay, good, I'm good. Can you wiggle? Awesome. That's a safe position for a knee to be in, okay? Utkatasana, chair posture. One of the postures I personally love to hate. Not a big fan of this posture. It's uncomfortable, it's challenging. It's really good for your muscles. It's really good to build the muscles that surround your knees and protect your knees. Utkatasana, I'm just going to do with my hands that have my heart today, which is a modification. This. Do you see where I am right now? Knees are way out over the toes. Not a good place to be. Often people bend into it here. Knees are still out over the toes. And Utkatasana, you want to sit as if you were sitting back in a chair. Utkatasana means chair pose. Your body is meant to be the chair. You want to sit down in your chair, hips back, knees basically over the ankles. I can see my toes. I can wiggle my toes. That means my weight is in my heels. As a side note, we don't want to arch our back here. We want to pull that back in so you have a long back. Chest is lifted, shoulders are down. These muscles really start to work. They really start to burn. If you can go lower, 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 that's fine without coming forward. Now my weight's on my toes. I can barely move them. You want to be here where you can wiggle your toes. Another posture, goddess pose. This one's really hard for me because my hips aren't super open, so I really struggle with this one. But it doesn't mean we can't be working on it. Your toes are going to be turned out in goddess. Where they go is dependent upon your hips. For most of us, we're not going to be up here, okay? They're going to be somewhere past parallel, but not all the way perpendicular. Same thing, you want to sit down and back and try to track knees over ankles. Then the arms might be here, but we're just going to work here today. From the side, can you see the difference between this, which I see a lot, see how my knees are way out here? My glutes are soft right now. There's no contraction going on there. My quadriceps are not doing anything. If I sit down and back, now my quads have to fire, my glutes have to fire on. I don't want to hinge forward, I want to try to sit tall. I want to press out here. Knees stay over ankles and I can wiggle my toes. Okay? Again, I'm going to build muscle here, I'm going to build muscle here, I'm going to build muscle here, and I'm taking a lot of the stress off of the joint. Alright? When we're down on the mat, one of the only times I can think of where you might track over your knees is going to be in a low and a crescent lunge. When that back knee is released and we press forward to open up our hip flexor, your knee might track out over your toe here. But there's no weight in your knee right now. Your body weight is not being borne upon that knee, and you're actually stretching it. So in this posture, I don't worry as much about it. But when we're down here, we might go to lizard lunge. In lizard lunge, we do want to start out knee over ankle. I see all the time people coming here in their lizard lunge. I'm going to switch legs, see? And then coming down here. That's not a great place for your knee to be. Start knee over ankle. It's obviously less than a 90-degree bend because we're down low on the ground. You can come up on that back foot or not. Now we're opening up our hip, but my knee is still over my ankle, not tracking forward over my toes. And then a few stretches for your knees. You're sitting here in lightning bolt pose. That's a really good one. It's nice to put a block under you that's going to protect your knees. If you can sit here, this is a nice stretch for your knees. It's actually quite therapeutic. Just try it for a minute, 30 seconds. Build up to it, because for some people this will hurt, but the longer you can do it, the better off it will be. Also down here is our deep squat, our yogi squat. I find a lot of people struggle with this posture. You can sit up on a block. That will help. If your heels lift off the floor, that's fine. If they're up here, that's okay. Work to get the heels down, and over time, see if you can lower the block and maybe come down all the way. Endeavor to sit up tall rather than rounding over. This is another one that's very therapeutic on the knees. It opens the hips. It's therapeutic on the knees. And if you can do this now, there's no reason you won't be able to do this when you're 95. Okay? So just practice it. And finally, when you're down sitting on the floor, we can do a stretch with our knee tucked, our foot tucked behind us. Here is going to be the most challenging. If that's too much, you can work out here. Okay, and then we fold forward from here. But again, that stretch could be nice in the knee. If that's painful, if it doesn't work for you, come out of it or take it, day by day. You can, of course, do this stretch with both knees back. Same thing, closer together is going to be slightly harder. As you move out, it'll be slightly easier. You can sit up. You can go back to forearms, or you can work your way all the way back onto the mat. Again, depending on your level, depending on how your knees feel. Okay? So that's it. We want to think about Always, always, always no more than a 90-degree bend, or 90% of the time, no more than a 90-degree bend. Not tracking out over our toes. Think about making the muscles work. Think about, am I feeling my quads, my glutes, my calves doing the work, as opposed to, am I feeling pain in my knees? We shouldn't feel pain in our knees after yoga practice, okay? And obviously all the poses that come after your warrior one, warrior two, if you're in side angle bend, if you're in reverse warrior, it's all the same, right? Always, always, always that front knee, no more than that 90-degree bend, never tracking over our toes. That's gonna protect your joints, it's gonna build your muscles, and it's gonna make sure you can practice for a really long time healthily and have a long, healthy joint life, okay? So that's all for me for this tutorial. My name is Monica. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. And I look forward to doing some more videos for you soon. Thanks.